Let's talk about the engine room of the American government, the legislative branch. In the Constitution's blueprint, this is Article 1. The founders wrote this article first and made it the longest because they believed this branch, the one that makes the laws, was the most important. It's the branch that is closest to we the people. Its home base is the U.S. Capitol building, and its name is Congress. So what is the mission of this engine? This slide breaks it down. First and foremost, its primary job is lawmaking. This is its core function, debating issues and creating legislation. The structure is a House and Senate. This is known as a bicameral legislature, meaning two chambers, which we'll explore in a moment. Its constitutional foundation is Article 1, which, as we noted, was the most detailed part of the Constitution, showing how much importance the founders placed on it. And finally, its location is the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., a building that is a symbol of American democracy. This is one of the most important slides. Why do we have two houses? It all comes down to the Great Compromise. At the Constitutional Convention, there was a huge fight. Large states, like Virginia, wanted representation based on population. This meant more people, more voices. But small states, like New Jersey, were terrified that the big states would rule over them. They wanted equal representation. The solution was this compromise. We got the House of Representatives to represent states by population, making the large states happy. And we got the Senate, where all states, big or small, are represented equally with 2 senators per state. This brilliant solution balances large and small state interests and ensured the Constitution would be ratified. Let's look closer at the House of Representatives, often called the People's House. Its size and structure is fixed at 435 members, divided up by population. This large body is led by the powerful Speaker, who controls the entire legislative agenda for the House. The most important feature here is the terms and responsiveness. Members serve just 2-year terms. This means they are always thinking about their next election. These frequent elections ensure accountability and are designed to make the House incredibly responsive and reactive to the immediate wants and passions of the people. You might wonder how we decide which states get how many of those 435 seats. That process is called apportionment. The Constitution mandates a U.S. Census be taken every 10 years to count every person in the country. Based on that new population count, the 435 seats are divided or reapportioned among the states. This is a huge deal. Because of population changes, some states might gain seats, like Texas or Florida have recently, while others might lose seats. This process literally shifts political power from one part of the country to another without changing the Constitution. Now for the other chamber, the Senate. Its nickname is the cooling saucer. The story goes that George Washington told Thomas Jefferson, "The House is like a hot cup of tea, representing the passions of the people." The Senate is the cooling saucer you pour the tea into to let it cool down and allow for more deliberate, long-term thinking. This is reflected in its terms and stability. Senators serve 6-year terms, so they aren't constantly running for election. They can focus on more complex, long-term issues. It's also called a continuous body because only 1/3 of the Senate is elected every 2 years. This ensures there are always experienced members, providing stability and insulating it from rapid shifts in public opinion. The two houses are not just different in size. They have very specific, special powers. The House powers are crucial. First, it initiates all tax revenue bills. This is the power of the purse. The idea is that the People's House should control the people's money. The House also has the sole power to impeach, which means to formally accuse a federal official. The Senate powers are a check on the other branches. It has the power of advice and consent on treaties and presidential appointments. meaning it must approve all major judges and cabinet members. And after the House impeaches, the Senate conducts impeachment trials to decide whether to remove that official. Leadership is critical for organizing 535 people. The most powerful House leader is the Speaker of the House. This person controls the legislative agenda and is second in line for presidency. In the Senate, the Vice President of the United States is officially the President of the Senate, but it's a largely ceremonial role. Their only real power is to vote only to break ties. The real power in the Senate belongs to the Senate Majority Leader. This person leads the party with 50% seats and sets the Senate schedule and priorities, deciding which bills get a vote. The Constitution, in Article 1, Section 8, lists the specific powers of Congress. These are broken into two types. First are the expressed powers. These are the 18 specific powers written directly in the Constitution. Things like the power to coin money, raise an army, and establish post offices. But the founders knew they couldn't list everything, so they also included implied powers. These are powers that are not written down, but are considered necessary to carry out the expressed powers. This is what gives Congress the flexibility to govern a modern country. Let's focus on what is arguably Congress's key power, the power of the purse. As this slide says, Congress taxes and spends government money. This is the ultimate check on the other branches. The president can have a dozen grand ideas, but without money from Congress, none of them can happen. There is no presidential spending without congressional approval. This forces the branches to cooperate and gives the People's Branch the final say on the nation's priorities. Another key power is the military and war powers, and this is a classic example of separated powers. On one side, you have presidential authority. The president is the commander-in-chief and directs military operations. But on the other side, you have congressional authority. Only Congress has the power to declare war, and, tying back to the last slide, only Congress can fund and maintain the military. This creates a natural tension, a push and pull designed to make it very difficult for the nation to go to war without broad agreement. The Commerce Clause is one of the most powerful and far-reaching clauses in the Constitution. It states that Congress regulates commerce among states. This sounds simple, but its interpretation has given Congress broad authority over a huge range of issues. Why? Because so many things cross state lines. This clause has been used to justify laws regulating the environment. Pollution crosses state lines. The economy. Goods are shipped nationwide. Transportation, like building interstate highways, and even civil rights, banning segregation in hotels and restaurants that serve travelers from other states. It's a cornerstone of democracy. Those who represent the people decide how their money is spent. This slide explains where those implied powers we mentioned come from. It's the elastic clause, officially known as the Necessary and Proper Clause. It's found in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18. It says Congress can make necessary and proper laws to carry out its expressed powers. It's called elastic because it lets Congress stretch its power. The example here is perfect. The Constitution gives Congress the expressed power to raise an army. The implied power, then, is creating an air force. An air force is necessary and proper to the modern defense of the nation, so this clause allows it. Congress doesn't just make laws. It also has critical non-lawmaking powers. First is oversight. This means Congress monitors the executive branch to ensure laws are enforced as intended. It's about government accountability. Second is investigation. Congress can hold hearings for scandals or national issues, like the famous Watergate hearings, to uncover problems. And third is impeachment. This is the power to remove federal officials for misconduct. As we noted, the House accuses, impeaches, and the Senate tries, convicts. So, how does an idea actually become a law? This slide calls it a long, slow, difficult process, and that is the absolute truth. It is a legislative maze. The founders made it difficult on purpose to prevent hasty, bad laws. They wanted bills to be debated, compromised, and perfected. The process is so tough that over 90% of bills fail. This system is designed to filter out everything except the only strong ideas that have very broad support. It all starts with step 1, idea and introduction. Ideas can originate from anywhere: regular citizens, interest groups lobbying for a cause, or even the president. But an idea is just an idea. To become a bill, a member of Congress must formally introduces the bill. It's then given a number, like H.R. 1 for a bill in the House or S1 for a bill in the Senate, signifying it's the first bill of that session. This is the most important step and the one most people don't see. Step 2, the committee. This is the filter. The bill goes to a specialized committee. For example, a farming bill goes to the Agriculture Committee. This is where the experts work. It's also where most bills die. The committee can table the bill, which means they ignore it and let it die. Or if they like it, they will mark up or edit the bill and then vote to pass it on to the next stage. If a bill survives the committee, it moves to step 3, floor debate and vote. This is where the full chamber decides. The bill moves to the full House or Senate for debate. In the House, debate is strictly controlled because there are 435 members. But in the Senate, debate is almost unlimited. This is what allows for the filibuster, a tactic where a senator can talk for as long as they want to block passage of a bill. After all the amendments and debate, a final vote is held. If a bill passes the first House, it's not even close to being done. It must go to step 4, to the other House. When a bill passes one House, it proceeds to the other and goes through the same process all over again: committee, floor debate, and vote. The most important rule is that both houses must pass an identical version. If the Senate changes a House bill, they must resolve their differences. They do this in a special conference committee, which creates a final compromise version. Finally, once an identical bill passes both houses, it goes to the president for steps 5 and 6, the president and override. The president has several presidential options. They can sign it, and it becomes law. They can veto it or reject it, and the bill dies. Or they can do nothing for 10 days. If Congress is in session, it becomes law anyway. But if Congress is not, it dies. That's called a pocket veto. If the president does veto the bill, Congress gets one last chance: a congressional override. If they can get a 2/3 vote in both chambers, they can override the veto and make it a law anyway. This is rare and difficult to achieve, but it is the ultimate legislative check on the president.